virus environment. We've been, upping the ante every webinar, bringing very, very informative panelists to our webinar. So thank you for continuing to join us. We're going to have a great webinar again today. Real quick, at the bottom of the webinar, there are some Q&A areas. Please make sure you have any questions, answer them there. Don't put them in the chat box, put them in the Q&A, please, so that we can address them and have the panelists give you the information, answer the questions that you have, and give you the information that you need. So again, let's get started. So our objective with these webinars are to educate, provide resources, exchange ideas, and provide solutions. So these webinars are put on for the benefit of our chamber members, for the benefit of the chambers, for our clients. So it's meant to help our community. So please, if you have questions or there's information that we're not providing that you'd like to get from us, do put that on the chat, and we'd be more than happy to try to bring that to you in the webinars to come. So thank you again. So my COVID virus creed is: we must not keep fishing in the same dry pond. We must not quit. We must reinvent ourselves. We must double down on our marketing. And in good times, people want to advertise, and in bad times, they have to advertise. So that's our creed that we do every week. So let's get the show going here. So today we're going to have, again, Tammy with our health and wellness kick off our webinar, like she always does a great job inspiring us. We're going to have our investment strategist back today again on in an uncertain markets, right? How to invest in an uncertain market. We're also going to have our chamber highlight, Iris Gutierrez, president of the High Desert Chamber of Commerce. She'll be talking a little bit about her chamber. We have our business owner highlight, good friend of mine as well, is our client as well, Danny Del Muro from PDM Transportation. In addition, we're going to have our CARE Act update from Carmen Lainez, our off counsel and business solutions partner, as well as George Paniagua, another affiliate partner of ours. He'll be speaking on the CARE Act updates and some additional post-coronavirus solutions that you'll be needing, okay? So with that, we're going to go ahead and ask Carmen to moderate our panel today. So Carmen, you can unmute yourself and we hand it off to you.
Good morning, everyone. Like Sal was saying, there's a Q&A. So during this webinar, feel free to ask any questions, and I will do my best to ask the panelists the questions and get answers for you. And with that, I will turn it over to Mrs. Tammy Martin-Riles.
Well, thank you for unmuting me. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. It is time to start off with a little bit of health and wellness, how to remain healthy and happy during this coronavirus pandemic. And so what I want to start off with is first, if you're on this call, then you're already starting off on the right foot. So in my series, I've been talking about a lot of different things. I always talk about your routine and I talk about the food, but today I'm going to talk a little bit about exercise. Exercise is something that, can be a dirty little word to some people, but during the coronavirus, it has to be at the forefront. It has to be that wonderful word that you want to embrace. Because you know what, as business owners and as leaders, we get so busy and we get in an environment that we're worried about our business. We're worried about how we're going to put food on the table. We're worried about if our business is going to survive. But one thing we don't put in our mouth, or we worry that we're going to survive. Because remember, we forgot that this is a virus. This is a virus that attacks the body. So just like you're preparing yourself for your business, you got to prepare your body for the attack. Because I truly believe at some point, the majority of us are going to come in contact with this virus. And what are we going to do? So just like we're preparing our business, we need to prepare our bodies. And so today I'm going to talk about exercise. Exercise is never going to go away. Exercise is here to stay. So let's embrace it. But the one part I do want you to understand about exercise is not one size fit all. It is about just taking the simple things. let me just tell you a little benefit of just exercising. Because of what we're going through, we tend to bring on stress. Exercise is a great, a stress reliever. It is definitely, instead of reaching for that wine, we can exercise. I guarantee you're probably going to get a better, some better sleep. So now, how can you incorporate exercise? We don't have the gym. I have a gym. I don't have, my gym is not, no. You can exercise without even leaving the house. While you're watching your Netflix, and some of us are watching Netflix after Netflix after Netflix, Amazon Prime. Come on, y'all know I know. That means get up and watch your show. Walk around, walk in place. While you're watching the show, why don't you do some stretches? Why don't you lift your weights while you're just watching TV? In between working, those of us who are on webinar after webinar. I mean, today I would be standing up doing this webinar with you, but I decided to just go ahead and sit down because I want to talk to you to get into your spirit, right? So think of the simple things that you can do as a business owner that's going to boost your endurance, increase that oxygen intake. Please never put exercise second, because remember, you're in a pandemic and this is something that attacks the body, and without the body, you're not going to have the business. So mind your business, mind your body, and mind your mind, and mind what you're putting in your mouth. So those are the things that I want to give to you. Keep it simple. You don't have to, you don't have to create this massive array. Take a walk down the street every single day. Take out at least 30 minutes to an hour to take care of your body. And exercise is going to help you fight against this coronavirus. The stronger your body is, the stronger you're going to resist this virus. If your body is weak, and this is a respiratory attack. So if you don't have enough oxygen going in, hey, it's going to suck it all up anyway. So back to the happy note. Come on, you guys, let's get healthy. Let's stay strong. Let's be smart business owners. That's how you got there. All right, Carmen, I'm gonna take it back to you. But before that, you can visit me at getrawwithtammy.com on my website. Get Raw with Tammy is on all social media outlets. Or if you forget, just tap into Tammy Martin-Riles, and I'm quite sure you'll see my stuff. I look forward to helping and serving all of you guys and keeping you all motivated. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy, so much for that wonderful information. And Tammy, how many minutes would you recommend that we exercise on a daily basis?
At least an hour a day.
Okay. Well, I think that's great advice, and we should all do that, or the best that we can.
Yes.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Tammy. And next, we have Mr. William Brown, who is going to be speaking to you on investment strategies in an uncertain market.
Yes. Hey, thank you so much, Carmen. And also, thank you, Tammy. You're speaking about health and wellness. You're talking about your body and your mind. What about your financial health and wellness? We want to talk about that a little bit today. Losing. Think about your mind. Losing doesn't feel good, does it? Uncertainty certainly doesn't feel right. Fear and anxiety. Let's talk about the importance of having an efficient personal financial plan. Let's look at some financial plans such as your pension plans, today's 401ks, your 457 deferred comps. Now, you guys have these plans and you already know what they are. 403bs, what about annuities and the falsehoods that are surrounding annuities? We can address that as well. How about IRAs or your Roth IRA, meaning your traditional IRA or your Roth IRA? I'm going to explain all of that to you later on in this presentation. How about the next slide? Everyone goes through at least one of three life situations, and some of us all three. Premature death, disability, or major health issues. How about retirement plans? Now, a lot of you guys say, hey, man, I'm 20 years old, I'm 30 years old. Why do I need to talk about retirement? That's the very reason why you need to think of it. If you're retiring at the age of 65, you don't start a plan when you're 55, okay? All right, next slide, please. Okay. Now, this is what I really want to talk about. The old types of protection versus the new types of protection. Now, what do I mean by that? All right. Are any of you old enough to remember an 8-track player that you used to play in your car? Anybody remember anything like that? How about CD players? All right. How about a typewriter? Anybody ever heard of a typewriter before? Oh, or Samples. All right. But now we have computers, don't we? All right. So everything. Now, what about going back maybe 30 years ago? How about social media? Was it there then? I don't think so. All right. This is what I'm talking about. Just like things have evolved from old products, old services, old ways of doing things, it doesn't stand to reason that they have changed now. All right. Well, think about this. And if you have purchased an insurance plan in the past, you probably have the old type of coverage. Old coverages are not cost effective. You have fees and charges, and some of these things are they are not necessary. Financial products have evolved and they definitely have improved. Next slide, please. All right. Living benefits, critical care, chronic care, terminal. Now, if none of you on this panel have been through any of those things, we certainly have loved ones and either parents or grandparents that have suffered some of these things. Critical care, cancer, heart attack, stroke. Let's go to chronic care, long-term care. Now, what is long-term care and why, at what point would you qualify for long-term care if you have a plan? If you're if you're not able to perform 2 of your 6 daily activities, drinking, feeding, bathing, and then let's go to terminal illness. Physician expects death within 12 months if you are diagnosed with terminal illness. Move. Next slide, please. All right. The importance of being efficient in today's financial market. I want to say right here once, and we talked about premature death. What if there was a way you could cover all of your needs with one policy? A lot of you guys and gals might be spending too much money already because you have piecemealed all of these things together. I've got life insurance. I've got health insurance. I've got accidental death. I've got cancer insurance. I have an annuity. I have mutual funds. I have all of these things. What if you could have that all in one policy and end up spending less than what you're spending right now? Wouldn't that make a lot of sense? Let's talk about premature death, chronic care, critical care, terminal illness, accidental. Okay, let's see, law assure, wills. Okay, wills, competitive scholarships, orphan scholarships, emergency assistance, orphan benefits, everyday money, a financial helpline, supplemental retirement, and tax-free growth. Wouldn't it be all kind of nice to have that all put in one package? A lot of us, with our internet and our TV and our telephones, we have that package, right? Because we have found a way in a lot of cases that saves us money. Well, there are plans like this that can offer you the same thing. And number one, it can give you the guarantees that you're going to have what you need when you need it. Next slide. Okay, to schedule a free consultation to determine if this strategy is right for you, hey, jot this number down. I'll give you a few minutes because I want to recap a little bit what we talked about last week, okay? But jot this number down. Okay, we talked about investing in an uncertain market last week, didn't we? We talked about you that have CDs, you have 401ks, you have annuities, you have variable products, mutual funds, stocks, bonds that could lose money, especially in times like this. Say the market is based on one thing. It can go one or two ways. If it's confident, the market goes up. Lack of confidence, the market goes down. That's why we are experiencing this roller coaster that we're into now. But what if you knew that your 401k, your savings was protected as you could ever lose a dime again? Okay? And we're going to take imagine a circle, a pot, and we're going to draw it right down the line. On the left side, I have my retirement, my savings, my life savings, my money, and I'm guaranteed I will never lose that. However, if the market goes, I get it. If it doesn't, guess what? I don't lose anything. On the right side, I have all of these other benefits that we spoke about earlier, covering your life insurance, your health insurance, long-term care, savings, tax-free plans, and things like that. And I have it on the right side. Okay, to me, that is a perfect solution to investing in an uncertain market. Back to you, Carmen. Now let someone have some questions.
Thank you so much, Will. That's really important that during these times, we are noticing that we need to invest more. We need to think about retirement accounts. So for all of those people that don't have that, Will, so they do a consultation with you and then you find the best fit for them. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Before, like any good doctor, before you give a diagnosis, you have to ask the proper questions. And there is no one size that fit everyone. Well, there are some plans that can fit most people. However, you really have to find out what your client's needs are. You have to also determine what are their risk tolerance. And longevity has something to do with it. And also, what do they expect to happen? And more importantly, what do they desire to happen? And we design plans around them to take care of their children all the way up to age 85. I don't know why they discriminate past 85, but we have an idea. but we can design a plan for your individual needs. So yes, we sit down and have a consultation. We ask the proper questions, and then we'll give a diagnosis on how we can move forward.
Thank you, Will. And we have a question from Sara Beatriz Mijares. She's asking if someone has had cancer, can this policy still be available to them?
It depends on if she's in remission, and all of these things have to be, we have to take a diagnosis. I'm not a doctor, well, financially, but what we do, we have to find out there are some carriers that are more lenient than others. And because of the organization, along Will Hidalgo, my partner and I, because of the organizations carriers that we deal with, some are more lenient than others. So it's a case-by-case basis, whether she's in remission or not, what type of medications and things of that nature. I cannot answer that directly without asking the questions. Again, you wouldn't want to diagnose until you get the right information. However, I must also add that these plans are perfect for business owners. If you're concerned about your bottom line, you're concerned about your retirement, if you're concerned about your employees and their health and their safety, and you're having a good, solid, healthy business, you might want to contact us as well.
That's perfect. And I think that's really important. Thank you so much, Will, for all the information. And I look forward to consultations with you. Like you said, for example, Sal's policy might be different than mine. So we really are lucky to have you on our panel to be able to give us that advice. Thank you, Will.
The pleasure's mine.
Can I ask a question, Will, on that same topic? So I know you mentioned that somebody with cancer had a pre-existing condition. Is it true as well when you have a group policy for a business owner? Does that help? Getting the voluntary benefits like the cancer and the accident policies. Does it exclude pre-existing conditions in that case when it's a group policy, kind of like health insurance used to be?
Oh, that's an excellent problem. That's an excellent question, because in most group policies, it's taken as a group. So we will still have to look at that, and then it's up to the carrier to determine whether they want to take it or not. But generally, in a group policy, they are less discriminatory than an individual policy, because keep in mind, they're not dealing with one person; they're dealing with an entire group, and the size of the group also may be taken into account as well. So, like it's a risk reward thing. Well, do I want to take this risk because I've got a group of people that need this? So that may offset them taking that risk, so to speak. So it just depends on the situation. Depends on a lot of it has to do with the size of the group, and then also obviously that determination is made by the carrier. Not by us. Yes, absolutely.
And I would imagine it's a good tool also for retention, right? And attracting better employees and keeping your employees by making sure you have, a good plan in place, right? Insurance plan and retirement plan in place for business owners, I would say.
That is an excellent question because, when we look for a job, not only do we look for the salary, and the salary might be great, but the next question people want to know, and you guys already know the B word, what benefits do you offer? Okay, what benefits are you offering? And so in that way, and that's where competition comes in because if you have ABC trucking company that has a great salary but great benefits for the employees, they will certainly be able to attract more employees than the XYZ company. That is a very excellent point. No, people are looking, not only they're looking for longevity. Okay, especially people that are thinking, and you start, well, what benefits do I have? And I guarantee you, your spouse wants to know what benefits do you have? Are we covered? Are our children covered? And there are many people out there that have to go outside of the company to get supplemental plans because the company will not provide it for them, you see. So no, that is a good way of attracting and keeping your employees.
Right. And with what's happening right now, I believe that if you contract the COVID virus, it automatically falls on the employer, whether you contracted it at the place of work or outside, that falls on. So it's a good time to kind of revisit your policies, your insurance policies, and your benefits to make sure that you're protected in that case. That's correct, right, Carmen? That's something that falls on. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're on the legal side there.
Yeah, it's actually if it's on the work site, and that's why the governor announced about the workers' comp, that you're able to use your workers' comp. So if your employee contracts COVID at the workplace.
Mm-hmm. Also, may I jump in and add something as well? And we touched on this last week. And now it's also those of you who have been furloughed or laid off or whatever it is, and you can tap into those 401ks, which were you prohibited up to $100,000 now. You are always able to borrow from it, before age 59 and a half. You are always able to do that. But since that, you can also, as a matter of relief, you can get up to $100,000 right now in that. So there are a lot of different things that's happening. None of us like this COVID-19 deal, but you also have to look. There are some options to help to keep your family safe and give you some relief at this time as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Will. That was amazing information. Again, if anybody has any further questions and wants to talk to Will about a particular situation, their case in particular, feel free to request a consultation. You can go to the link on the screen or call the office, and we'll take care of setting you up with Will.
Thank you.
Perfect, Will. And Sylvia Aguilar would like to get your information. So the number that you had on the previous screen is the best number to call you at directly? I believe so. So Sylvia will make sure.
Yes, that will be fine.
Oops. And every week we are highlighting a chamber member or partner. And it's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Iris Gutierrez, and she is the president of HDHCC. Welcome, Iris.
Thank you for having me. Hi, everybody. This is great. So, am I going to be asked any questions?
So, Iris, tell us a little bit about your chamber. What is it? Where your chamber is? How many members you guys have? Some of the benefits that your chamber offers its members.
Okay. Well, we are in the very small market of the high desert, or as some people are calling it now, the Mojave River Valley. So we started in 1996 by somebody named Mary Lou Farfan and Roberto Escalera. Mary Lou has retired since then, and Roberto Escalera is still an active member. The logo that you're looking at, I always have to share this, is very special to us. Do you see that? That's a Joshua tree. And that was painted by Roberto's father. That sketch does not do his artwork any justice, but his father was Rodolfo Escalera. And he was a very prolific artist, may he rest in peace. And he traveled between Mexico and the high desert to see his children. His work is absolutely beautiful. I'm not getting paid to plug him, but it's just a beautiful part of our culture. When you look at his artwork, there's a lot of Mexican sceneries and stories, if you will. So that's a very special logo. So we've been around since 1996. And I've been a member the entire time. Last October, I took over. We, at one point, were at about 900 members. And before I took over, though, it wasn't 900 members. It dwindled down something like 200. So it's been very fascinating and interesting to restructure the entire chamber. It's definitely been a struggle, but I'm very engaged and connected with our local community. We actually go knocking door to door, calling them. Well, we don't do much knocking nowadays, but we call them and ask them personally, how are you doing? So there's 4 board members right now. That's all we have. We're really not doing anything to change right now during this time. Right now, we're just making ourselves available to our members and dealing with them on one-on-one, like really like just being a brother or sister to them, and bringing resources to them, connecting them with the right contacts so that they can continue to run their business. There's a lot of questions, you know. I'm sure it's not any different than any other market that you guys are all in, right?
Correct. Yeah, we, just to elaborate on what you're saying, I know we had a quick webinar yesterday with some of your members,
Right.
and I was impressed with how engaged they are with their board. You know, they're always willing to exchange information and refer each other. Right? It seems like you guys are a very close knit community up there. So, thank you very much for coming on and we wish you all the success in the world in this crazy pandemic. I know we're going to be putting together some more opportunities for your members. So thank you very much, Iris. I'm not sure if there's anything else you'd like to add that we may have missed.
No, like I said, there's really nothing new or unique about what we're going through. Send good vibrations over to the high desert and to this board so that we can be, a good use resource and elevator for our members and our community as a whole. But Sal, I really appreciate everything that you're doing, not just for the High Desert Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, but everybody here on the panel and the people that are watching. I see that you have quite a few people watching, and you're doing a great job, you and your team. I thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you being on and being a part of our panel today. We look forward to it. Yeah, so please reach out to the High Desert Chamber. You can never have enough chamber memberships, so you should be a member of all the chambers that we have in the Inland Empire, because they all have something different to contribute, and they're all unique in their own way. It's funny, but you go from one chamber to the other and you always find something new. And I'm a member of, I think, all of them. I think of yours as well. I'm not sure if I have or not, but if I'm not, I'm going to make sure I become a member as well. But yeah, please, if you guys are out there, even if you're not in the same city, it's not a bad idea, especially with what's happening right now with this current environment. A lot of the chambers are moving to having some type of a continued online presence post-coronavirus. I think it's going to be essential, to keep that strategy going. Even if we're back at having events, we should not get rid of the technology that we learned to utilize, because now we can reach people in different places especially those businesses that can do business in other cities. I think it's important that you stay engaged post-coronavirus times. So thank you, Iris.
Sal, before we move on, we actually have two questions for Iris. So Iris,
okay,
Kathy wants to know, what is the main issue? You said you met with your members yesterday, that they're dealing with, the primary issue that in this climate that you heard about.
Well, the wonderful thing is that we heard some members getting creative rather on how they could make money, because their business pretty much has shut down or is at a standstill. So we heard from a few people. We heard from a person who does, she works for a very large travel booking company that they book conferences, but she also has a side business that she just does for fun and extra cash flow. It's an online business. So it was interesting to hear positive news from her saying that, you know, her business has grown because she already had the online business. So it's grown. She has been doing some things to get creative to, you know, but also just because of COVID, it's been growing on its own. We had another member who said that she is a party rental place. They have the chairs, the jumpers, the tablecloths, the linens, all of that. And she got creative, and what she's doing is she is decorating your front home for birthday parties, grads, Mother's Day. She'll be doing a Father's Day. So, you know, they're working really hard to stay busy. They're not just sitting saying, "Oh, no que voy a hacer." You know, they're getting creative, and they're extending their business, and they're you know, taking advantage of the opportunities, offering services. So obviously they're still struggling. And then there was another member who's a licensed handyman, and it was you know, disheartening to hear that work had gone down tremendously, and sometimes there are no resources for certain individuals. But it was amazing to see, right, Sal? Yesterday there was a connection made for referrals. So we had another individual, actually one of our directors. He's a small business owner. It's a water fire damage restoration. So it was just wonderful to see the connection and the offer from the water restoration company, who really hasn't slowed down too much in contracts. So he extended the invitation to work together with this handyman for, you know, the work, because he says, you know, sometimes we can't handle the workload on all of the repairs that need to be done, and we have to outsource. So that was a wonderful connection to see. So definitely there is a huge benefit to having these types of meetings online and connecting. And we heard from people that we hadn't even seen before, and that's definitely a plus and a benefit, and something that excites us, you know, on the board.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your leadership. That is that's wonderful, and that's a great way for people to know the importance of joining the chambers, because you never know who you're going to meet, even if it's via a webinar. And then Iris, Sylvia wanted to know for your membership. I'm sure it's a scale depending on an individual or small business, or where can they find out the membership prices?
Well, we're tweaking everything right now, but I can certainly, if I can, I don't know how I could share my contact information on here, but I could send it over to her, because we are changing everything, obviously. You know, we had levels and the annual membership, but you know, right now we're just getting creative with how we're doing everything until we completely open up.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Iris.
I hope to hear from you. That was Sophia?
That was Carmen.
No, that's Sylvia.
Question.
Sylvia. Okay. Sylvia.
Yeah,
Going with the question.
Thank you. Thank you, Sylvia, for your question.
I'll get the information over to Sylvia. I know Sylvia personally, so not a problem. We'll get that information over to her.
Thank you.
So thank you so much again, Iris. So up next, we have our business owner highlights, which I'm excited to introduce. Danny Del Muro, CEO of PDM Transportation. They have a really, it's kind of close to my heart. He's our client as well, as you know, personal friend of mine from high school. You know, I've seen how they grew their company from owner operator to, I'm not sure how many trucks you guys are up to, Danny, but I know you've done an amazing job, amazing family, family-owned business, and it's been a very successful one. I think they have operations in Texas and California, and also Mexico. So they're an international company as well. So again, my pleasure to introduce Danny Del Muro. Danny, please share with us a little bit about what's going on with the current environment, how you guys have adapted, and give a little background on your company.
Thank you very much, Sal, for the introduction. Can you guys hear me okay? I know we were having problems with my microphone. I hope you guys can hear me good.
We can hear you perfectly.
Thank you. Yes, we are a transportation company in the Inland Empire. That's our home base, Fontana, California. And it is, like Sal said, a family-owned business. I like to say we are a logistics company, given the fact that we provide several services, distribution services to our customers, primarily transportation. We do a lot of trucking. We are a truckload carrier, for hire carrier. We do a lot of truckload primarily. It is your dry type of freight. We own, we do very little perishables. You know, we only have about 5 refrigerated or temperature controlled trailers to, you know, haul your, you know, cherries, your cheese, the bulk of the business is dry freight. And our main lanes of operation are obviously from all Southern California, Inland Empire and the surrounding counties, Northern California, San Francisco, Sacramento, Tracy area, all the Center Valley. And then from here, or Northern California, we go into Texas, primarily Atlanta, Georgia, Phoenix, Arizona. In Texas, we do all the main metropolis, and one of them is we go a lot into Laredo because, as Sal said, we are involved in the so-called door-to-door service into and from Mexico. We been doing that for the past, my gosh, my dad started all this, you know, about 45 years ago as an owner-operator. I've incorporated, I mean, I did everything, you know. That was my first high school job, you know, helping them, you know, anything from changing the oil to cleaning the trucks to you name it. So here we are nowadays with PDM Transportation Inc. owns 35 rigs. That is the front piece, 64 dry van trailers, and only 4 reefers. Our sister company, PDM Freight Systems Incorporated, it's a broker of freight. And through that company, we outsource or subcontract owner-operators, you know, guys that own their own rig, some of them, their own trailer, the whole set of equipment. And we subcontract them. Some of them on a day-to-day basis, some of them on and off as they need or we need, you know, their help, you know, moving their equipment. With that, how are we dealing with this pandemic nowadays? Do you have something for me, Sal?
Yes. So I have a couple of questions for you. One is, we're getting into now the post-COVID virus environment, right? And I know through the environment, you guys were in essential business, right? So did you see a peak in a surge in business? Because I know you don't do the Amazon door-to-door, you deal with bigger freight, right? But did you see an increase in business at all, or what did you see with that?
Well, I have to say, business-wise, you know, I'm a talker, Sal, and you have to like raise your hand and say, you know, I want to say something. You know? The way I look at this is that somebody like, we have a motor and somebody threw a wrench into the motor, you know, and all of a sudden this motor started doing crazy stuff that nobody expected, you know. But, and I'm talking about the pandemic and how it affected our business. business-wise and the amount of freight and business that we're getting right now, when the pandemic and everybody started talking about shutting down and everything, yes, we did so. Certain sectors of the economy that we service, the automotive being one of them, that the loads disappeared. Wow. The freight disappeared from one day to the next. And so then we really start asking ourselves, what is going to happen? So we started looking at our portfolio of business. And yes, I do believe that one of the things that has helped us is that in our portfolio of business, of customers, we are pretty diverse. We have people in the food distribution that are doing and are continue doing really well. I mean, all those panic sales of toilet paper and stuff like that, needed to be recirculating. So we picked up some of that business. I mean, one of our customers is Food for Less and Stater Brothers. We do a lot more for Stater Brothers customer pickups and stuff like that. They were going nuts, they needed a lot of trucks. So that business picked up, So on one end, certain
kind of balanced out.
Exactly. We reach a point, I have to say, that the level of freight really, got tight, and that put in danger the spot rates. How much we charge for services on certain lanes. Why? Because as all these manufacturers and shut down, a chunk of freight went out. So all the kit now you have more trucks, less freight. So we're all battling, for this freight that is left out there, And how do you battle for that freight, or to retain that freight, or to grasp some of that freight with price? The freight market, historically speaking, has always been driven by the market, the prices, that is the revenue. So this was no exception, And but yeah, indeed, it did balance out to some extent, and we just needed to get very close to the numbers. And I used to do studies, on a quarterly basis. It seems that during that month, like
I know you're very analytical. I remember that.
I was doing it.
Danny, thank you so much for sharing your experience through this pandemic and your business. Your website is on the screen there. So if anybody that's on the call has any way of doing business with PDM Transportation or vice versa, feel free to reach out to Daniel Del Muro. He's CEO of PDM Transportation. The website is on the screen. Thank you again, Danny, for enlightening us on your business and sharing your story. Very proud of you. Very, very happy to call you a friend. So thank you so much, man.
Really, thank you. And I told you already, but I want to take the opportunity to thank you and commend you, all of you guys, for what you guys are doing, because a lot of us, we are into one thing. I mean, we're a bunch of truckers, and when stuff like this happens, you need different resources, it's really to stay alive, So there are things like the chambers of commerce, different chambers, where are always, full of resources for us to stay alive, like I said. So I really thank you. And I've attended a couple of the prior, webinars, a lot of good information. So thank you all.
Thank you so much, Danny. Okay, with that said, we're going to go ahead and move on to our chamber sponsors and partners. And just to make mention of who they are: California Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Pomona Chamber of Commerce, Inland Empire Regional Chamber of Commerce, Greater Riverside Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, BAC Chamber of Commerce. We have Tammy, she's our president of the BAC Chamber as well. Carmen, the GRACC chair. World's Best Connectors. I think Denise, I saw her on the call as well. So great partner out of Arizona. She's doing some amazing things out there. Our highlight member, which was the High Desert Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, is also on there. AME, Alliance of Multicultural Entrepreneurs, is also one of our partners. Latino Tax Pro, he's on hiatus right now, went on a little vacation, but he'll be back next week. The Antelope Valley Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and the Inland Empire Business Journal. So thank you again, all these chambers that are our partners in this webinar series, and we'll continue to highlight the chambers and bring them on so they can continue to talk about what opportunities they can find with them. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and move on to our CARE Act update, that is going to be moderated by Carmen, and George is going to share some information with us as well. So George and Carmen, you guys are on. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sal. So I wanted to go ahead and just talk about a little bit of what's the latest and greatest information on the CARES Act, and Carmen chime in as well. But basically, it's still ongoing, which is a surprise to a lot of us in the industry. As you know, I deal directly with SBA every single day, and we were expecting it to run out very quickly. But it has not, and that's a good thing. I mean, that's a sign of, I think, two things. One, that a lot of people got the help, right? Because if a lot of people did not have the help or were still seeking the help, the money would be gone, right? But a lot of people have it, and the requests. I work with a lot of bankers from multiple banks, from the large banks down to the smaller community banks, and people aren't walking into the branches anymore to request these loans as much. So it's pretty, that's a sign that a lot of businesses did already submit their applications and get their help. The clients that I myself assisted, they've all gotten their money at this point, and the money has been it's about a month to a month and a half delay. So if anybody on here applied for one and hasn't received your money, I would say the average time frame for that is a month to a month and a half. So I would say that's the time frame on that. So it's still there. It's still ongoing. If you were thinking of doing it and you haven't, you should. You should definitely go there. And then it is a potential loan that is going to get forgiven depending on the parts of it. Now, Carmen, if you want to talk a little bit about the loan forgiveness application, I see you have it up there.
Yeah, so the form came out a few days ago on May 20th. In the earlier modules, we were talking about PPP loan and how to obtain. And like George was saying, there's still some money available for those who haven't obtained it. Now, for those who do have it, I think it's important. I see Kathy had a question about the 8 weeks. So you have 10 days from the date that you fund to start using it, and you're going to use it over the course of the next 8 weeks. So the way it works is you should use a minimum of 75% for payroll, and you are allowed to use 25% for rent if you own the building for mortgage interest and for utilities. Now that the form is available, and I believe it's on Unico's website, it's on the GRHCC website. I think it's important that you look at the form or speak to someone, if someone helped you actually prepare for the loan, so that you know what documents to keep together. For those independent contractors that obtain them, for example, making sure the cash checks. If you're going to be paying for rent, make sure you're keeping a track record of it. It's not sufficient just to input it into your QuickBooks. You're going to have to show that it was actually paid and then that the check was cashed. So not just a copy of the check, but that it was cashed as well. For the GRHCC, we will be having on our website, it's going to be a to-do. So pretty much telling you how to do the forgiveness application. And we will be having it in Spanish as well. Because I know that this form is a little bit more complicated than the loan form, the original loan form was. I know that George, for example, I'm sure with your clients, the ones that you helped, you're going to be helping them fill this out as well as any clients that we've assisted throughout, because it is important. What we want is that we want you to use the loan correctly so that at the end of the day, it's 100% forgivable.
Right, and it's important that point to make, which is, how you use it is going to determine whether it is not forgiven or forgiven, or only a portion of it is forgiven and the other portion is not. And keep in mind, whatever portion is not forgiven turns into a 2-year loan and at a 1% interest rate. So 1% is good. The 2-year part of it is hard. That's rough. That's pretty rough, because that's not a lot of time to pay it back, and it could be a big monthly payment. So definitely, contact Unico, contact Carmen for the information on just basically more consultation on that. But it is important. It is important to make sure you use it correctly, and that when you're looking for the forgiveness, that the forms are filled out correctly. That will impact it. Now, one of the things, and you guys are all seeing the slide here, one of the things that I also wanted to focus on was, what is SBA doing to help post-COVID, right? Like, now that things are starting to open up, things are slowly starting to get more into what they used to be. It's still some time before we're all the way there, but things are starting to get there. So what is SBA doing? And there's a couple of things that SBA has in place that they were in place before the pandemic occurred, but I think it's something that can be used now more as a tool than ever before. So with rents increasing, they always increase. Our business owner highlight can tell you, I'm sure he would agree, that if you're leasing, right, a lot of times the tenant has to end up paying more rent because the landlord keeps increasing it. Either every 3 years, every 5 years, whatever. And so this is something that just keeps on happening. And eventually, either you have to find a new location to move into because the rents are too high, or you try to purchase a property. And that's the best way to avoid increasing or having your rents increase. But what is the best way to purchase a property, especially in this time frame? I would say that the answer is through the SBA 504 program. If you're ever looking to purchase a property, look into the 504 program. I would say as one of the things you look into. By no means do I recommend that's the only thing you look at. But I think very quickly, when you include that into your research, you'll find that it is going to be probably the better option. And the reason is because the rate is way below bank rates. The rate right now to if you were buying a building today is 2.76%. That is considered free money, 2.76%, and that is fixed for 25 years. So it's a long-term loan fixed for a very long time. So avoid increasing rental rates by buying your own property, and take advantage of all the write-offs that you get when you own your own property. So it's an option. Now, the component of SBA that everybody likes is that you only have to come in with 10% down. So you don't have to come in with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can do it for a lot less than that and fix your rate at that low of a rate. So it's an option for everybody. I would definitely recommend, if you're ready or interested, this is a good time. Probably the best time to look into it because of the rates being so low. Take advantage of the rate. If you are...
Just to interrupt you really fast, how about if you're a business owner and you already have your current building, right? So the interest rate, in my understanding, is lower. Is this a good time to refi? And is that something that you assist people or business owners with?
Thank you, Carmen. And that is, very, very important. So if you do have a mortgage on your property, we are able to refinance your property, put you into a better loan at 2.76%, and potentially, if there is equity there, take some cash out and give that to you to use as working capital. So it would solve a lot of things, and the working capital is something that can help you, year to year. But the fact that we can drop your rate, for the next 25 years, that's going to help you for the lifetime of your loan. So thank you, Carmen. Good point. And yes, we can help with the refinances as well as cash out, or even if you don't need cash out, you just want to drop your rate, we can help with that as well. And then more to the point of the working capital, if all you need is working capital, you're either not ready to buy or you've already purchased and you're happy with your loan, and all you need is working capital, is the 7A. It's also an SBA loan product, and that will assist with working capital. All lenders have different rates, different terms, just a lot of things. So you're going to want to get some consultation when you're talking to lenders, because there's just so many ways that you can package a loan and make it look one way or feel one way, but really it's maybe not as good or maybe it's not as bad, right? So I mean, you really want somebody in the industry that knows how to look at these things to consult with. And we can do that through Unico. We can definitely assist you. So now, if you are in the need, guide you through that, but all through the questionings and finding out what is out there for you. But equipment is also part of that. And then last but not least, business purchases is something that can be assisted through the 7A program. And again, this is a time when some businesses, either the folks are looking to retire, they want to get out of it, or perhaps you have the ability or the opportunity to purchase a competitor. And if you wanted to purchase a competitor, the SBA 7A program is the program you want to go with. Again, lower down payments, lower interest rates, longer term. It's a lot of times these loans are fixed. So it helps with cash flow. It helps to buy real estate, refinance your existing real estate, buy equipment, refinance equipment, buy other businesses, partner buyouts. I mean, there's a lot that the program can help with overall with SBA. And, this is all to assist the growth of businesses as we move forward and as we move past COVID. That is absolutely a good time. This is a great time, if not the best time, to take advantage of SBA. And I will add that if you look at the historical rate charts, since the SBA was in existence, this is the lowest rate we've ever had. So when I say it's the best time, that's why it's the best time. It's the lowest rate.
Thank you so much, George. I think it's really important for everyone to know their options and availability of these loans. So, I feel that we are very blessed to have you on the panel to be able to share that with our members. I wanted to go back to the really fast and answer a question. I just want to make sure that all the business owners understand that if you've already received the PPP loan or have been approved and will be receiving it, it's not automatically forgiven. So you have to make sure that you fill out the form. Most banks are going to have it available through their portal, similar to the way that you applied. But you have to make sure that you submit it to your lender after the 8 weeks, after you've spent the money, you get the documentation. It doesn't have to be automatically at the 8 weeks. They do give you some time to be able to submit this. But the sooner the better. Make sure that you do request it though, because it's not automatic and the bank will not just automatically forgive this loan.
Right, correct.
I have a question for George. Perfect segue here. Q&A. So, George, are the lenders being a little bit more forgiving with their guidelines given the current condition of the financial struggles that businesses are going through? Are they putting any consideration to that when approving loans, or especially the way I'm seeing it, post coronavirus status right now that we're in? I've always saying you got to take advantage of opportunities, not be opportunistic, right? Not take advantage of people. So during this time, it's probably a good time to, like you said, buy out another business or invest in additional equipment and so on. So my question is, are they being flexible with that? Or are you seeing that from a lender standpoint, that they're being a little bit more forgiving if your DTI isn't there, or they saw a big dip in your income and so on?
Yeah, no, good question. I mean, and the answer is yes and no, and it varies, right? Because everybody knows of the big banks, right? We all know the big conglomerate banks. Now, that's one section, right? And that's where you would call your A paper. Right? That's where you send your best of the best type of client, right? And then everybody that's maybe not as large as those big banks would be considered second tier 2, and then there's tier 3 banks, and so on and so forth, down to what I would call a tier 4, and that's just the smallest of the small, right? But in essence, depending on which bank you're going to, it's going to be yes, they're giving concessions because of COVID, or no, they're absolutely not giving concessions. So it depends on the bank. Now, I'll tell you that the banks that are lending, because there are banks right now that are literally saying we are not taking any new clients and we're not lending any new money to any new clients, right? They've actually said that. There's been a few transactions, multi-million-dollar transactions that I'm working on right now for my clients. And midway through, the banks have told us we're not doing this deal anymore. We can't. The corporate has come down and said we're not allowed to take any more deals, right? And so these bankers, being that they're bankers, they're not policymakers, right? So they're just communicating with us what's happening. And so there's some banks that are absolutely not lending at all, and then the ones that are lending, they're being more flexible. Believe it or not, they are taking the virus impact as a consideration. When they look at your financials, especially your balance sheet and your income statement for 2020, they're going to see that in January you were good, February you were okay, and then March you got impact. April you got impact. They're going to see that, and they're going to know it's COVID related, and they will be able to see past that, because these loans, they're 10, 15, 20, 25-year loans. It's not a loan due within the next 6 months, right? So they're looking at things long-term, not short-term. And again, that depends on the lender you go to. So to answer your question, yes, they are, if it's a bank that is lending. But there's a lot of banks that are not lending, especially with, for example, if you're doing a cash out, a refinance with cash out, that's very specific which bank is going to do that deal. Or if you're buying property and you're doing construction to it, also very specific. Not a lot of banks are okay with construction right now. So it depends on your request, and it depends on the bank you go to.
Perfect. Good question. I think, Will, you had a question.
He's on mute.
Okay, there we are. Yep. Yes, I do. George, are the banks requiring the borrowers to have life insurance?
So yes and no. In a transaction where it's a sole borrower, the sole owner, one person, only one person, 100% of the time we require that there be life insurance. We will not close on that file. SBA will not close on the file unless there's life insurance there. But if it's a partnership, or it's a husband and wife team type of situation, then it is not required.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah, good question. Thank you, Will.
I think Danny had a question for you, George, as well.
Hi, Danny.
Danny, I believe
along the lines of about what you were saying about the sentiment. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we missed the first part of your question, Danny. Can you repeat that again, please?
Okay, I guess I have a question slash comment along the lines of what you were saying as far as the sentiments of the banks. I'm happy to report that we got our monies. We applied for a PPP loan. So I'm listening to Carmen loud and clear as to how to apply for my forgiveness. Thank you very much. And we also took this opportunity to, throughout years, we've been been able to buy our real estate property too, the yards where the trucks are at, And one of the things that we wanted to do is refinance, because like you said, we're looking at stellar rates, and we wanted to take advantage of that. The same bank, our bank, that is applying me for the or approved me for the PPP loan, the same bank that is financing my real estate property. And seems like the tones in the conversations were totally different. Here I've been protected. This is my personal take. here I'm protected by the government. So here, Daniel, here's your money. But over here, I don't know. Are you going to survive these difficult times? You know, are you going to pay as your bill? Maybe if I refinance, you know, I don't know. I'm kind of getting that. So now that you're hearing that banks are even, historically speaking, correct me if I'm wrong, the rates on commercial properties are being higher than residential per se. And I hadn't heard a proposal of 2.9 or 2.8, you know. Everything we're saying, well, what rate do you have? We have 5.10. Well, we can probably do 4 or this. So not very enticing, you know.
Sure.
I don't hear the excitement with those loans, you know. Maybe I got to talk to a different bank. I don't know.
Yeah, so it is very dependent on the bank you're talking to. I'll give you a very quick example of that, and I'll run through it very quickly. But basically, I just got done providing this week 2 approvals to two clients, right? In both situations, the rate is much lower than what you just said. In one situation, it's 3%. Okay, fixed for 25 years. And in the other situation, it's 2.91%. Okay, so it is dependent on the bank. Now, I spoke to a different bank on the same exact transaction, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, we're being competitive. We're going to offer 4.5." So that bank doesn't know that their competitor just offered 2.91. You know, so it is very dependent on the bank that you're talking to, 100%, and that's, you know, part of the role that I play is bringing in the right bank, because I'm very agnostic as to which bank you go with. I'm not playing favorites. You know, I represent the government. So the loan that you go to, whatever loan you go to or with is not a, you know, it doesn't concern me as long as you're happy with that loan, right? And I always bring in on board 2 or 3 banks. And the reason I do that is not just to guarantee an approval for the business owner, but also to create an atmosphere of competition. I want the banks to fight for your deal, right? Because when they fight each other, they waive fees, they increase terms, they decrease the interest rate, and overall, Danny, you get the better deal. So I always create that atmosphere of competition. And to me, I'm agnostic which of the lenders you go with, because again, to me, I represent the government, not the bank. And in fact, you know, we're a nonprofit, so we really don't mind which bank you go to, as long as you're happy with your deal. The better it's going to be for everybody, you know. And so yeah, it is very specific to the bank you're talking to. Now, to the comment that you said about, on this hand, they're very happy to lend to you. And then on this hand, they're like, I don't know about that. Is, you know, keep in mind, Danny, that all banks are risk-based lenders, right? They're basing their lending decision based on what's the risk to us as a bank, right? They want to protect themselves as a bank. So in the PPP situation, for them, it's guaranteed they're going to get paid back, because 100% guaranteed by the government. They're going to get that money paid back. So they have no problem lending money. Now, when they're asked to lend their own money and put their own, you know, butts on the line, of course, they're going to take a quick second to consider that. And I don't blame them. I mean, it's their money, right? You don't just lend money and not consider what is the loss potential. So you do have to do that, and I don't blame them. Now, that's, again, why the 504 is important, Danny, because I lend 40% of the money, and the bank lends 50% of the money. So if I'm lending 40%, you're coming in with 10% down payment. The bank's risk is only 50%. So we just took 50% of their risk completely off the table for them. And they're way more likely, especially right now during the pandemic, to lend and say, yes, you're approved, than not to. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So
okay, so we're getting near the end. George, if you have any more to add, feel free. If any other panelists have any other questions, feel free to ask. I think we've covered all the questions that we had asked already. So after this webinar, if you have any additional questions that you'd like to ask us, feel free to visit our website, request a consultation, and we'll put you in contact with all of these amazing panelists. Carmen, do you have anything else in closing?
No, I think that we answered all the questions. And I just want to remind all our viewers that we do this webinar on a weekly basis, and our next webinar will be on May 29th, which is next Friday at the same time at noon.
Awesome. So thank you, everybody. This concludes our webinar. Have an excellent weekend, safe weekend. Stay physically distanced from everybody else. I know things are opening up, so just be cognizant of that. Stay healthy, stay safe, be smart. So thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Memorial Day. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.